back. Today, we just had some announcements come through from Bandai, of course, talking about the new Unison Warrior set that's going to be coming out. We had some release dates get pushed back, some changes. We know that the expansions were pushed back, but we also know that the main set is being pushed back, but the starters are coming out ahead of time, which is really cool. So, just want to get started. We know the ratios for the boxes itself are pretty different. So, of course, we have the ability to get, foil cards, but now they introduced rares coming in different foils, which is can be a bit concerning because it's like you want to make sure that you're getting every single possible card in the set, and it seems like having the rares in that additional ratio makes it kind of awkward. Additional, if they do the different types of foiling like they continue to do, it's going to make the set great for collectors, but if you're looking to be someone that's trying to play the game hyper competitively, you're going to have to try and invest in singles more so once the format arises, as opposed to buying sealed products. So I think the set's going to be great from what we've seen from Unison. There's a lot of potential, so just keep an eye out on all the content that we're going to be producing on the channel, both through YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, as we start getting into preview season, so you could start to see what's the strongest decks. So then that way that kind of helps you influence your buying decision. We also know that there's 3 secret rares, not 10, which is a big deal because 10 would be a little bit absurd. As I said, the starter decks are actually coming out they're coming out early. So, June 5th, you're going to get your hands on these, which is awesome because we're going to have new cards to play with and new archetypes, new Unison. So we really get to kind of explore how all the different Unisons are going to work. So here we have, it looks like, the Vegeta and Trunks. So maybe something with like Vegex, which is kind of cool. So that's exciting. And then you have Clan Collusion, which is Frieza. So Frieza makes a return, and it's like the full power Frieza, which is really cool from Frieza Saga. So I'm excited about that. And then the other one is Spirit Potara, which is going to be Vegeta leader and has a Gogeta Unison, which is pretty cool. So I think that in general, it's pretty exciting to have all these starter decks coming out ahead of time, June 5th, so just a little bit away from us getting a new product, but playing stuff that's like cool, and then something that we're going to be able to teach people how to play. I love that there's 3 different starter decks, so you're not going to run into that experience where it's like you're both playing the same exact deck, which makes the games really awkward, and hopefully they're all on the same power level, so then that way when you're teaching people, you can play really fun, interactive games. So I'm really excited about that. The next thing that happened was they came out with the designer notes for the Unison Warrior series. And honestly, as you see here, we have our dates changed for the expansions, for the starter decks, and then of course for the main set itself. And then the anniversary box even got pushed back too, which is good because I know people aren't really buying cards right now. But now is a good time to start thinking ahead of time. Once preview season starts rolling out, like I said, once we start testing more of the previews that come out and you can see what we're playing and what's doing the best, then you can start purchasing those cards from the past that you need to. So Unison Warrior series, what was cool about this is we ended up getting a few previews of actual Unison cards, which is really exciting. And then the 2 that I'm the most excited about right now are actually the first 2 that are showed on the page. So the first one is SS Broly Legendary Unison. So why is this card good? So number 1, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and switch to rest mode. So having this card in play for any amount of time is going to create a ton of value for you. So let's say you're playing, we'll do Yellow Jiren, and we're playing like the Universe 9. So if this sticks around, being able to go on your turn, untap your energy, and then just use the ability to +0 tap something, and then just play a Bergamo, tap your opponent out. It's just very powerful. And then, of course, has the -1. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 5 or less in rest mode and KO it. So just a really high utility card, and it just plays in with those strategies. And the fact that you get to do anything ignoring your barrier is also very strong. So I actually really like this card. I think it's going to see some play. And it's like simple, it's cheap, costs 2. You can play it for more if you want, but just a good card. And I think honestly, the Vegeta Unison of Might probably has the most implications. Has 3 abilities, has to activate main draw card, then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. That's very good. So yes, this is costing 4 red, so coming to play with 4 counters, you can take it up to 5. But being able to play something for free that costs 2 or less, generating an extra 2 energy, is just such a powerful ability. Frisco Files in our chat already mentioned how this could be really good with the Beerus leader, because since Beerus doesn't attack, you can play like a red control strategy, And then you can just take advantage of the -2 on this card, which is until the end of your opponent's next turn. If your opponent would play a card using a skill, it's placed into their drop area instead. So all arrivals, all combo into play cards, anything that's activating from a different area to be placed into play, all gets wiped out. So that kind of makes the game incredibly fair. And then -5, if your opponent doesn't have any battle cards in play, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So just a really cool, unique finisher as well, if you want to be able to kill all your opponent's battle cards, deal the damage to them. So this is going to kind of tag team really well with the secret rare Dragon Balls, which is dope. So playing this card in any red deck, it's going to be really cool. Especially like I said, Frisco's idea with Beerus is actually very strong. Beerus has already proven to be really strong right now, and the fact that now you have a Unison card that makes him even better is just really cool. I also like that this is a 20k. I mean, I get it, you're paying 4 energy for it, but now it's just a more threatening attacker, and again, that +1 is going to be highly underrated. Think about all the 2 costs or less red battle cards we have now, and then just going forward, how strong this card is going to be. The next cards that we were shown as more just art of SS4 Gogeta Peerless Fusion. Card looks beautiful. Then we were shown Red Pilaf Saga, which is Yamcha, Supersonic Striker, his Awakened side. So when you attack, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, then place the remaining cards in your drop area, and you get +5,000 for the turn. If you have a red Unison card in play, when your opponent takes damage from non-keyword skills on your battle cards or Unison cards, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So the attack and looking up the 2 cards is great because it's almost like having Surge Coup. So you look at the 2, choose 1, put it in your hand, then bin the other one and get +5k. So generically good red leader, I'm all about it. And it's a 20k on its swing, so it's high value. And then the next one though, this actually goes in tandem with the red Vegeta Unison. If you use that -5, deal a damage, you're going to deal an additional damage, which is really cool. Or if you're playing like the Nappa, this destruction rare that came out a little while back where it's like 4 red, deal damage to your opponent, you can deal 2 damage to your opponent. So this is actually a pretty cool card. So I actually really like it. And then it comes Vegeta Elite Unison. When this card attacks, add a marker to it, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and it gets -5,000 power for the turn. So just a basic auto. And then it has an activate main. Choose one of your red battle cards or leader cards. It gets +5,000, can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode. That's pretty cool. I mean, definitely more niche, definitely not something you're going to be playing like staple 4 of, but kind of a cool effect, a cool card, and it just kind of shows you the range that Unison cards has. The next was Imasu. When this card attacks, draw 1 card, activate main, place 1 of your energy in its drop area, then choose 1. You either get dual attack or choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. So the activate main is really cool because it's either removal or it's going to turn your leader into dual attack, and your leader will draw an additional card because the auto is not once per turn. So there's some implications with just cards we already have now, wanting to, place cards in your energy in your drop area. And this is kind of cool because if you want, you can actually play this with like the old forced ejection strategy just to lock your opponent out of energy. So that's kind of cool if you awaken early. So that's kind of a neat thing. But in general, the leader seems, that's pretty interesting. We haven't seen really an aggressive Zamasu before, so it'll be cool to see that. And then Zinio Cosmic Key. This card's actually really cool. If your lead card's mono blue, place top card of your deck in your energy, and then you can't place cards in your energy for the turn. Then at the end of the turn, place the card you place in your energy with the skill in its owner's drop area. So let's say turn 2 we play a Zen-Oh, right? Or turn 2 we play a Zen-Oh. It survives. Turn 3 we then play an energy, use Zen-Oh's ability, go to 4, play no Booney. Pretty decent. So just having that free ramp is just very strong. So you just charge for turn, didn't do the +2, put an energy. It's like having the Goku Black ability, but every single turn and not costing you cards is pretty amazing. So the Zinio Cosmic Unison +2, I think it's gonna be abused, which is awesome. And then the -5, choose all battle cards in all areas, all cards in all battle areas, ignoring barrier, and shuffle them to owner's life deck. So just like standard Zen-Oh. So really flavorful. You have the +2, which is just like absurd, and then you have a -5, which is just very good and just represents that as Zen-Oh, and it's SR from the set. Next we got Green Frieza. We got a new Goku. This is I don't even know how many Gokus we've had now that are green Gokus, but we have a billion. So, but this one is auto burst 3 when you attack, draw a card, and activate main /battle. Just place 2 cards from your life in your drop area, then choose all your battle cards and your opponent's battle cards in their barrier and place them in their owner's drop areas. So I'm interested to see why it has a burst 3 when it attacks. I think that's kind of interesting, but honestly, to activate main slash battle to place 2 cards in your life, there must be a reason why it's placing 2 cards from your life in your drop area. So I'm pretty excited to see what the front side of this leader does. Maybe it awakens early to make it like a kind of like a boon for you to place the 2 cards in your life in your drop area. I don't know though, but then having that double-sided board wipe, a very powerful effect. So I think this leader probably going to be competitive. Who knows? I think it all depends on what the front side is. And then the green Bardock Unison. This card actually is really cool. So it has the auto when your opponent combos, you may place up to 1 card in their combo area in the drop area and then negate the skill for the turn. So it's like having a 6-drop Broly but on a Unison card. And it's only 2 green, so you can play this for 2. And then +1, choose one of your green battle cards, energy cost are 1 and KO it. If you do, they discard a card. Alright. That's really good. I mean, KOing a 1-drop to make your opponent pitch a card on a +1, that's a strong effect. And then -3, card gets +5k and triple attack for the turn. So this is going to be really powerful against opposing Unisons. And just a high value card here. Because if your opponent combos, you can just punish them for it. So I think this Unison's awesome. And it's SR, and it's green. I'm finally glad that green is getting all the love it deserves. The next thing we saw new Gotenks. So this is Gotenks Adolescence. So the Awakened side, when you attack, draw a card. And then auto once per turn when your opponent activates an extra card, draw 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Decent. With Bergamo, bro. So your opponent, say they negate, you're like, okay, cool. You tap, I'll switch one of your battle cards to rest mode, I'll play our Bergamo, tap you out for the turn. Everything is good. And then auto once per turn when you activate Union Fusion, this card gets +5,000 and critical for the turn. So this means that potentially we're just going to be seeing a new archetype focused around Union Fusion. I mean, the +5k and critical is awesome. So I wonder what like yellow Union Fusion cards we're going to get or how that's going to work. It's kind of interesting to see that in yellow since we really haven't seen that for Gotenks. That's exciting. And then SS Gogeta Dynamic Unison. This card's actually really strong. Also really good in Jiren as well. If all your energy is in rest mode, your mono yellow leader gets +5k. So it's like having a bean. And then auto once per turn, when your opponent activates an extra card, add a marker on this card. So this card can scale its loyalty very quickly, and then has +1. Choose 2 cards in your hand and discard them. If you do, draw 2 cards. So this is awesome for filtering, or if you want to discard your Grade 8 Son Goku Saiyan Instincts, if you just have extra fodder in your hand, like if you're playing Jiren and you have those 1-drops, you want to put it in your drop area for a benefit instead of comboing them, this just works perfectly with that. And then -4, during your opponent's next charge phase, your opponent can only switch up to 2 energy to active mode. So let's say game is getting towards the end of the game. Your opponent just played a really big effect, a huge effect, and you want to make sure that you can finish them off the next turn. Well, let's say you're turn 4. Turn 4, you tap out, play this card, -4, your opponent gets only untap 2, and then you could just go for game the next turn. That's really powerful. And just in general, the -4 is just always threatening, so the opponent has to deal with this Unison. So that's really cool. So these are all SRs, right? Yeah. Except for the Vegeta, but then the Vegito is an SR. So we saw an SR Unison for each of the 4 major colors, which is great. But in general, man, this set is absurd. Like, they were talking about changing the game, and it really does. I mean, already playing with Unison, like, I'm just noticing that the games are much different. You know, having the Vegeta Unison in play is already very powerful for yellow decks, and I think you're gonna need to start playing like cheap double strikers, right? Like instead of Ragers War Cry, but playing like, I know that exists, but also like Saiyan Kaba, SS3 Last Straw, like just things to get these things off the board fast, because if you don't, then the game is just going to drag out, because the longer they stick around, the more they accumulate value. Everyone knows Planeswalkers and Magic and how just once they stick, they just become absurdly powerful. So honestly, I'm excited to see where things go. I think this set looks great. And honestly, we definitely need a change. You know, I like all these effects that only benefit the monocolor leaders, and hopefully we continue to see that just so we can break away from the surge leaders. But in general, covering the news, I'm excited for preview season to start. As you know, we will be the absolute best when it comes to you getting everything you need for preview season. When it comes to deck lists, breakdowns, card evaluation, you know we have you here at 3Sheep Productions. Thank you guys so much for everything. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck if you're participating in the PPG event. Okay, thanks. Bye!